turn on this computer. We are recording. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Thursday, October 15th, and this is day 4 of the Go for Yes 5-day challenge. First question is, does anybody have any questions? Where are we at? So, hi, Victoria. Hello. We can't hear you. I don't know why. Because it doesn't say you're muted. I'll let you look at that for a minute. Okay, so hi, Nancy. So here we are, we're at day 4. So the major steps we've moved through, starting with day 1, is first question is, who's your ideal audience? And what is it that you would like to talk about for the rest of your life, that you're willing to talk about for the rest of your life, that excites you, that makes you feel really excited about it? And because, what's going on with Zoom now? I'm getting messages. Okay. And so we started to talk about your ideal audience, and then we started to talk about what their pain points are and identifying their pain points. And I know some of you are still struggling a little bit with pain points. I don't know if everyone is, but this is something we continue to work on. And where we are today is, now that we've identified your audience, identified your pain points, the major issue for today, and by the way, and yesterday we also talked about where do we find content, how to find content. And we looked at MLSP as one source of content. We looked at Google as an incredibly major source of content. We talked about YouTube. We talked about a little bit about Quora. There was one or other one that was mentioned. I forgot which one it was now. Whoever mentioned it. Victoria, did you mention it yesterday? I'm not sure. Okay. Anyhow, so we talked about where to find content. And now the big real question that's before us now is, what do I talk about? And when people are new to this business, there's a tendency to think, I don't have anything that anyone's going to want to hear about. I haven't had any success. I'm not making $1 million. I don't have a big team. I don't have whatever. And so who am I? Why would people want to listen to me? And the important thing to remember is that no matter who you are, you've got life experience. You have learned some things that there are other people who are struggling with and are just learning. That's your audience, and that's your subjects. That's what you're going to talk about. And in today's, who has watched Stacy's day 4 video?
I have.
Okay. Everybody? Not everybody? Okay. So Stacy starts the day 4 video with the story of Julia Child. And she talks about the movie. Are you familiar with the story? Well, if you watched her videos today, you are. Have you ever seen the movie? Who has seen the movie, Julia and Julia? Okay, I have too. So there's an incredible lesson in that story. Is Julia Child had this cookbook, The Art of French Cooking, which, quite frankly, is, if you really like to cook, it's still a challenge. Many of the recipes are very, very challenging. There's a lot to it. And I have the cookbook somewhere. One of the things I used to like to do in a former life was cook. I've sort of given it up in the last few years because I live alone. So right now it's a challenge for me to convince myself to go put a hot dog on the Barbie. There's nobody to cook for. And it's not fun. I know that there are people that cook for themselves because they say they deserve it, and I agree with that, but anyhow. So this woman, Julia, got married, and this is not Julia Child's house, this is a woman, Julia. She got married, and after she was married, her life sort of fell into disarray. It was all a mindset thing. She wasn't happy. She didn't have anything to do with her life. She wasn't happy, and her husband challenged her to do something with her life. And so she decided to take on a project of learning how to cook French, and she started with Julia Child's cookbook, The Art of French Cooking, and she gave herself a year and decided that she was going to try a new recipe every day for the next year. And what she did was she started to tell her friends about her journey. And this is the message, because no matter where you are in your life right now, you are on a journey. You are learning things, you are doing things, and your friends want to hear about that. If they don't want to hear about it, they're probably not your friend. People want to hear about it. The more you share your personal life and the journey that you are on, the easier you're going to find all of this business becomes, because people want to know what you're up to. So the short version of the Julia and Julia story is that Julia started making different recipes every day, and she started to message her friends about her recipes, and her friends messaged their friends, and pretty soon it exploded. And in the final analysis, it exploded into Hollywood coming looking for her to do a movie, and they did a movie. Meryl Streep and who was the other? Ann Adams. Yeah, two of my favorite ladies on the planet, by the way. So it's a really great movie. But the message is, share your life, share what's going on. Talk about your pains, your struggles. Talk about the things you've been through, the places you're going, the things you want to do. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is anybody uncomfortable with that? Is anybody willing to admit being uncomfortable?
I'm not used to sharing my struggles. I can say that.
Yeah.
I kind of internalize those things. So that might be a little bit of an issue.
I'm definitely uncomfortable with that too.
Who was talking, Victoria? No, Karen. Okay. Yeah. Well, the message is really quite simple. The more you share of what's going on in your life, the easier you're going to have attracting the people that you want to attract and bringing them into your world, which is what the whole purpose of this whole thing is really all about. So rather than walking down the mall or picking up the phone and cold calling people on LinkedIn, I mean, who's on LinkedIn? Anybody?
I am, but I don't use it much.
Right.
I'm there occasionally.
And Kim, you're on LinkedIn? How many
Yes.
how many people how many connections do you have? You know? I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not too terribly important. But the point is, LinkedIn is one place where it's really easy to get phone numbers. Very easy to get phone numbers. Facebook, not so easy. Facebook's strange. You know, people don't want to give out their phone numbers. They think and I think part of the reason is Facebook is so inundated with people that do want to snake oil salesmen, people that are snake oil salesmen, people on Facebook are more leery of. It takes more effort to become a friend on Facebook. It takes a lot of effort to become a friend on LinkedIn too, but a lot of people on LinkedIn have their phone numbers. It's easy to find phone numbers. And as a mentor of mine, whom I don't happen to agree with the strategy, but a mentor of mine, the strategy he taught was making $100 a day on LinkedIn. I mean, this is absolute cold calling. And if you're comfortable with that, go for it. But I'm not. I don't like to do it. I just find it emotionally, absolutely, totally draining to do that.
I've done it years ago, Lynn. I bought leads and called them, and it was so horrible.
And I've done it too. I bought leads.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. So make your life easy. Start to share yourself just a little bit at a time and get comfortable with beginning to share. Now, you don't have to share intimate details. We're not talking about sharing we're not talking about sharing intimate details. Let's just leave it at that.
Mhm.
Okay. But what we are talking about is sharing your struggles. Like, I had a bad skiing accident several years ago and tore my rotator cuff on my left side to pieces. Uh, there are 4 muscles in the rotator cuff. I had one half of one attached. 3 of them were torn off completely. Biceps was torn. I mean, it was just mangled. Okay. And so I belong to a skiing group. People in that skiing group will eat that story up. I haven't written it, by the way, at this moment in time, but they'll eat it up. They'll eat it up. Why? Because they can relate to it. I've been snow skiing for 50 years. Anyone who's been snow skiing for that length of time has had some pretty hard falls. And this happened to be a fall on solid ice, and it took the shoulder out. And so I can write that story, and believe me, if I wrote that story, in fact, I think I'll write it one of these days real soon. But I write that story, I'll get a lot of people connecting on that one. And then you go through the connections and you look at which ones that you'd like to connect with. So if I wrote that story and let's say I got 100 people commenting on the story, or 100 likes, or reactions, etc. And then I could start down through all the people that commented, and I could vet them one at a time and see who I wanted to try to connect with, who would fall into the category of people that I think are my target or my ideal audience. Because you see, I'm likely to get I might get teenagers, I might get 20-year-olds commenting. They're not in my target or in my ideal audience. I'm not going to try to make a friend out of a 20-year-old, but more than likely I'll get a lot of 40 and 50 and 60-year-olds. I mean, I know people who are still snow skiing and they're well past 80. In fact, I don't know her personally, but I know a lady who's still water skiing and she's 90. I know a friend of mine's mother was still teaching snow skiing at 93. So,
Wow, that's great.
and those are the people that I want to relate to. Not 93 necessarily, but that's on the high end. But those are the people that I want to relate to, because those are the people that are beginning to think about, okay, fine, I'm 45, I'm 50. Gee, I wonder how many more years I can keep this up. Do I have enough money? Can I ever retire? I'd like to make that trip to Chamonix in France, but I don't know if I can afford it. Those are the people that I want to start to talk to. Now, for those of you who know that I'm in a company, one of the companies that I'm in, and I'm actually in more than one, and I don't recommend that necessarily, but one of my companies has travel as a primary. You might think, well, why aren't you in a travel group? Well, because I'm not really selling travel. I'm selling lifestyle. And part of that is travel. It's just part of it. Because my primary focus isn't necessarily travel. It's on people who want to continue to be active as they age and want some tips, tricks, and ideas for how to do that. Does all that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. So today's assignment was to go, if you haven't already, and I got to tell you in all honesty, I don't remember throughout the week if I've said this or not. So have any of you gone ahead and identified 1 or 2 groups that you think is where you're going to find your ideal customer? Nobody?
That far, no.
Nobody?
Yes,
Who said yes?
I did.
Kim.
Kim.
Good.
Yep.
Cool. Anybody else? Okay. So, Karen, I think I saw your lips moving, and you.
I'm part of a few groups that I could approach in there. Yeah, I'm already part of some of those groups.
Okay. So your job is to start posting in those groups. So your assignment today is to go post in 1 or 2 of those groups. What can you post? Have you posted in those groups already, Karen?
Yes, sometimes. but not lately.
Okay.
But some I have.
So what we want to do to get started is to pick one or two groups. You don't have to pick a lot, but you want to pick one or two groups and begin to post in the groups somewhat consistently, uh, as consistently as possible. And when I say as consistently as possible, ideally you'd like to post at least 4 or 5 times a week, something. And it can be something about yourself. Now, I posted in a scuba diving group a little while ago, and I posted a picture of a dive that I did over in Palau and got tremendous engagement with that. So you can begin to post little things, little tidbits about yourself or about your life. What kind of group are you in, Karen, when you say you're in a group?
I'm in several groups. I'm, I kind of chose my my target audience to be entrepreneurs, but I'm not sure if I should just focus on um, um, uh, other, entrepreneur groups, or if I should also focus on my other interest groups, which are unrelated to that, and then try to pull out entrepreneurs out of those interest groups. What do you think?
That's a tough one because part of what I think is irrelevant. It's what do you think? But my thought is that the kinds of groups that you're going to focus in are not entrepreneur groups.
Okay.
Now, let me ask, would you like to write about being an entrepreneur every day for the rest of your life? Does that feel good?
No, I mean,
Would you like to write about raising chickens every day for the rest of your life? Does that feel good?
you know what? It takes takes pressure off if I go into something that doesn't seem like have to know everything about it. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it would definitely be more comfortable to talk about something not related to, um, you know, social media.
Yeah, yeah. And the reality is if you're not, I don't want to say if you're not comfortable doing it, you won't do it because everyone has something they're uncomfortable doing that ultimately they have to do a little bit of. Whether it's sharing something about your personal story, but I would think in your case that some of the other things that you do are the things that they're gonna satisfy your soul, and that's where you're going to find the people that you really connect with.
So if I'm starting my own group, then to connect with more people on a personal level, what would that group be about?
Well, what kind of people do you want to connect with on a personal level?
I would like to connect with other people who are interested in building a business on social media.
Well, then that's what you should be doing.
Okay, but it's still okay then to mix it with my other interests.
Well, sure, it's okay.
Okay.
But if you're in groups that are primarily focused on social media and marketing, then you're not going to talk about raising chickens.
No, I'm in a lot of different groups. I mean, boy, I'm all over the place, actually.
That's why you have 40 pain points.
Yeah.
We're going to narrow that down. Do you are you in a position where you can have a coaching session with Stacy?
Yes, but since I'm leaving town, it would be possibly, in the near future, it would be a little hard.
Yeah.
But in the next couple weeks, yeah.
You're only leaving town for a week. right?
Right. Yes.
That's not a long time.
No, I mean, I've been not in the short term, but in the long term, yes.
I mean, I'm going to be very honest and open and vulnerable. I mean, she is so much better at this than I am. She's been
Yeah,
doing it for
okay.
years and years and years. It would be interesting. I mean, you given me a list of like 40 pain points, and I will consolidate that for you. But I think a conversation with Stacy would really help you to gain some clarity as to what you're trying to do and where you want to go.
All right.
She's amazingly good at this stuff.
I will try to reach out to her because I listened to her thing yesterday, and she invited us to have a little session with her.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and you should take her up on that. Absolutely.
Can I add something here?
Yeah.
I had a short session with Stacy today. It is like, oh my gosh. She just really helped narrow things down. It was just like that, you know. Yeah, she's really good at it. And what I see too, Karen, when we have talked before, I know because you've talked about like the homesteading, the chickens and things like that. I hear more excitement in your voice when you've talked to me about that. And I
Yeah.
can see a lot of possibilities with that because there are, if women, when they get interested in doing that because they want to take care of their families and stuff, out of that, I think there would be more interest because there's a broad range of products that you could talk about that they're like, yes, I want to do that so I can afford more with all this stuff that I'm doing and everything. So just a thought and something that I wanted to.
Okay.
And I agree with you, Kim. I think honestly, I think that's where Karen ought to go. But she's got to see that for herself.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
Because I think she's going to have more soul satisfaction in playing in that sandbox than in the network marketing sandbox. But
Okay. No, that's good to know.
But
Good to know. Thank you.
Again, I absolutely, I think you should take advantage of having an opportunity to get a session with Stacy one-on-one.
Okay.
I've been doing this stuff for a long time, and I've been teaching some of it for a long time. And Stacy just blows me out of the water. She is the best I have ever talked to or seen. I have so much respect for that woman, and she's so able to sort of cut through all the fog and get clarity very quickly. So she's really amazing.
Okay.
So anyhow, if you don't have a couple groups or a group or two that you joined, well, get out there and start joining a couple of groups. If you have any questions about that, we can talk about it tomorrow. Remember, I am enough to attract sales, satisfaction, and success. I am enough. That's your motto. I am enough to attract sales, satisfaction, and success. So today's challenge, join one or two groups. And remember, when you join a new group, if you were walking into a cocktail party at someone's house, the first thing you would do is, if you didn't know the host or hostess, is you would ask, who's the host? And you'd walk up and say, hi, thank you for inviting me, okay? So when you join a new group, the first thing you do is you look up the admins in the group and you send them a message. At least one admin. If the group has lots of admins, maybe you've only got to pick one or two, but send a message to the admin that just says, thank you for forming this group. I just joined today and I really appreciate it. That's all you have to say. Just introduce yourself, okay? And if you're in groups that you haven't introduced yourself to the admins, go introduce yourself. Say, hey, oversight on my part. I've been in the group for quite a while. I really appreciate the group and the effort that you put in to be the admin. Thank you very much. Okay, just let them know you're there. You wouldn't walk into a friend's house at a party and not go introduce yourself to the host. Why would you join a group and start posting without saying hi to the admins? Right? Does that make sense to everybody?
No. And something
Yes.
I was going to mention too was that like when you said about sharing something about yourself, I don't have a problem sharing a lot of things. What I look at is my life is pretty boring.
You know, everybody, do you realize that everybody thinks that? But why do you think your life is pretty boring?
Because I hardly go anywhere and do anything. It's just the same old mundane thing day in and day out. Like no excitement.
So when you were in high school, what did you do?
What do you mean? What did I do?
Or was your life boring in high school?
I pretty much did the same thing. Went to school, came home and messed with my horses.
Oh, wait, you mess with your horses? Tell me about being with your horses.
Just working with them and riding them.
Gee, can you tell me some things that I should know about how to work with a horse
Yeah, I can tell people that.
and how to ride them
Yeah,
and how to select the saddle
yeah.
and
I get what you're saying. It doesn't have to be just like now. It can be all the things I've learned through life to
That's
talk about.
exactly right. That's the point. You have, I mean, I don't know how old you are, and I'm not going to ask you in public, but I mean, I probably won't ask you in private either. But you have life experience. You've learned a lot of things in life that you can share with people. And, you know, there are people out there that would love to know how to choose a saddle for the horse they just bought last week, and they don't know. Or they would like to know how to take care of their horse. Or I was up at a horse ranch a couple of weeks ago, and I asked a question I've always wanted the answer to. Why do we have to put shoes on horses? I mean, there are horses in the wild. Nobody goes out to shoot horse and mustangs that are running in the wild in Idaho or wherever they run in the wild. Why do we put shoes on horses? So I learned something about that. Uh, so, okay, I mean, there's some ideas for you. Now, I'm going to promise you this. If I go to Google and I Google working with horses, I will find enough material to write posts for the rest of my life. Literally.
Hmm.
What else do you like to do? Do you cook?
I hate cooking.
Okay, fine. All right. You have kids?
Yeah, he's grown and gone.
I bet you can write a lot about life experiences of raising kids. I'm not so sure you want to. I have two.
Yeah.
I have two kids. I don't think I want to write about raising those two, but
No.
so what else do you do in your life?
Let's see. I like to go camping and bowling and
Wow, where do you go
like the
camping at?
guitar.
What's your favorite place to go camping at?
Well, that was years ago. So I went in Colorado.
Okay. All right. So join the camping group. Write about going camping. There's really a couple really big camping groups. Do you like to hike? Okay.
Maybe a little bit. No, I'm not big on it.
Okay. So you like to camp, you like horses. See, you got lots of things.
I think you should share more about your weight loss too. That's really exciting.
Oh, well, I didn't know about that.
Ah,
Yeah.
I mean,
And
people, as soon as they hear that, their ears perk up right away.
Oh, tell me about that.
yeah. So yeah, I could talk about that and my journey with that and how I've done and stuff. So
How much weight have you lost?
20 pounds so far.
Okay. Oh, you're still losing it?
Oh yeah.
You're set for the rest of your life. You're the Pied Piper. I mean, you can have people coming out of the woodwork asking you how you're doing and what you're doing. Are you taking supplements? Are you exercising? What's your program? Can you help me? I need to lose weight. So many people, and absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that, Karen. There's so many people interested in that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, with my horses, one of the other things too is I have a very big interest in is holistic, more on the side of animals, because my son got me started kind of on that journey when he was a baby and had projectile vomit. And then I went and found somebody, a holistic practitioner, and he didn't have to be operated on. And it eventually led me to horse stuff. And I've helped people with all this stuff using holistic methods and products.
Okay, but you see what just happened here, Kim? I asked you about your kid, and you told me your kid was grown and gone. Now you're telling me about how he was an infant, he had this projectile vomiting, and you became holistic. That's huge. That is huge.
Yeah, and I understand, and I can tell that story. I guess I just don't want to get into the kids stuff. It's like, no, horses are my deal.
Okay.
Kids are not.
So you still have horses right now?
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, I thought you told me your life was boring.
Well, to me it is right now.
Kim, you have an exciting life. It's just that I water ski, you ride horses. I don't ride horses. I've always wanted to own a horse, but I also realized that for me, owning a horse is just the wrong thing to do. It's too much work and too much commitment. I'm not willing to.
Now you could get a miniature horse.
It's a commitment issue. I have a dog right now, and it's a commitment issue. I don't know what I'm going to do with the dog so that I can go to Cancun. So, having animals to be responsible for really is a huge commitment. And when I have an animal, once I have an animal, I will never, ever, ever let anything happen to that animal. I'll never give it away. I'll never abandon it. I'm responsible for it. So that's a huge commitment. And
Understand.
so, but you see, you have a lot of things that are very, very, they're really very interesting.
Right.
So, have you joined any horse groups on Facebook?
Oh, several.
Okay. Have you posted in any of them?
A little bit.
Okay. So start posting. And start commenting on other people's posts. And when you look through your, and you only have to have one or two groups. You really don't need a lot of groups, ladies and gentlemen, because it gets to be overwhelming, too much time. But if you have one or two really good groups, and then you can look through the groups every day, every other day, see what other people are posting about, see what questions people have, get into the conversation. Somebody asked a question. I mean, like I come into the group and I asked about shoeing horses, and you go answer the question. You get into the conversation and you get to know people. And pretty soon you're beginning to meet people and beginning to relate to what's going on. And then, and we're going to talk, I think we're going to talk tomorrow, but we're going to also next week. Karen, are you going to be able to be on the line next week? You're muted. Here.
I said yes, I think I will be able to.
So next week we're going to do Erin Birch's course, Posting for Profits. And she's going to pick up where we leave off here, and she's going to tell you about how to post, when to post, where to post, what to post. And she's going to give you example after example after example. And she's another one. She is absolutely astoundingly good at what she does. And you'll learn a lot from her. Cynthia, you've taken Erin's course, right? You're muted.
Yeah. Yes. Really liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
And Stacy's too. All three of them that she has out there.
Right. So that's where we are. So get into a couple groups and start interacting in the groups. When you do enter a group, make sure You read the group's rules and don't violate them. And if you have a question that says, well, the group says I'm not allowed to post about my business, why am I in here? The answer is you're not in there to post about your business. You didn't go to the party to talk about business. You went to the party to talk to people and meet people and become friends with people. Business comes later. That's the next step. Okay? We're using Facebook like it's a big cocktail party, minus the booze. Anybody have any questions?
Are we going to be doing this Saturday too? There's a bonus one with this one I'm doing.
I don't have a plan for Saturday.
Okay.
I've thought about it because I have a couple of things we could do. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Okay.
But it's actually up to the group. But okay. So anybody have any questions once more? You're unmuted, Cynthia. Did you get value tonight?
Yes. Yes. It's always good to meet people and find other people's interests, and I like that.
Cool. Victoria?
Yeah, the group energy is good in terms of, sparking ideas and getting you to think about things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's our biggest challenge. That's what we're really here for. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're here to make you feel like you're not alone. You're not just watching videos all by yourself, all by your lonesome with nobody to interact with, talk with, bounce ideas off of, get some feedback. And plus the fact that this stuff, one of the biggest challenges people face in all of this stuff is that they first off, they buy the course and they never open it. All right, so we're getting you to open the course and go through it, hopefully. And then they forget 90% of what they did anyhow, and they never implement it. So by going back through the stuff, we're trying to reinforce it and get you to implement. Yeah, yes, Cynthia.
Well, I'm having a problem with going through the courses, and there's so much information thrown at you. Like this last week, I went through these and I thought, I didn't hear her say that the last time, or I didn't remember it, because there's so much there. And I'm writing it down, and by the time I'm done writing it down, she has went through some other idea that I missed. So,
Well, of course, the beauty of what we're doing is that you can always pause the video and take notes.
yeah.
Look, I mean, I've got 2 or 3 pages of notes for each one of the modules in this course, each one of the videos, and this is my 3rd time through it.
Well, I'm
And
talking about the live one, Lynn. You know, when you go to a live one and you
Oh,
want to
that
take
too,
notes.
yeah. Now,
You know,
most
by the
of
time
the
you're
live-
done, it's not a good idea to take notes.
most of the live ones are recorded so that you can always go back to them too. And I agree. And then the
Yeah.
next question is, well, who has enough time to do all of that?
Right.
And it is
over.
an issue. That it is an issue. I agree completely. This stuff takes time.
Mm-hmm.
It's anyone who tells you can build a business in your spare time without interfering with anything else you do in your life is feeding you a line of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
How many of you have heard that one? Yeah, well,
It's been a long time. I did hear it years ago, but I haven't heard that in a long time.
well, I still see it every now and then. I see it in posts and spam groups and things.
Okay.
Join my business, make 10,000 next month, work in your spare time. I'll show you how.
I guess I ignore those.
Well,
I don't remember.
Well, I
them.
do too. I mean, they're just flat out lies.
Right.
Yeah. Karen, did you get value today? You're muted.
Yes, I think I am going to change direction with my group
I'll tell you what,
and my focus.
I want you to make me an ironclad 100% commitment. You are going to schedule a coaching session with Stacy. Because
will.
she will really help you gain clarity on what you're doing. And
Okay.
you, of all the people in this group, you really need that help. And I will do my best to look at your list but I think Stacy's better at this than I am.
No, you don't have to now because that might be irrelevant anyway.
Well, I have to anyhow. I want to, but still,
Okay,
I'm just admitting flat out, she's better than I am.
yeah.
So Nancy, did you get value today? You're muted.
Yeah, yes. It's just really good to, I stopped Stacy's recording a couple times today and I wrote like 2 pages of notes, but it's just giving me value and making me realize I really need to pinpoint some things that I haven't been doing because I didn't know that I was supposed to be doing them. I'm in a couple groups and I don't post very much. I don't engage very much, but I mean, that's why I'm here, is to learn, how to get better. So, but having everybody make their comments, like Kim, when you were saying your life was boring, I used to say that all the time too. And I was working in the courthouse for the commissioner. I was his assistant, and everybody would come into family law and have these crazy lifestyles and things going on. And I'm like, I learned that I was like, I'm kind of glad I got a boring life, after all. But it's just having different people talk about things kind of sometimes will, help you to remember certain things. And like she thought, like you thought you had a boring life, but you do so many things that were exciting to me. Like I like horses. I could never keep them, but that's exciting to me.
Whoa, whoa. Stop. That's
Okay.
a choice. You're making a choice. You could
To not do it?
if you wanted to.
Yeah.
We really, I'm sorry, I'm going to pick on you. I'm sorry, but because you just opened a huge door for me to walk through. We really have to be careful about our language with ourselves when we say things, because our subconscious mind is listening to every word that comes out of our mouth. It's going right into our ear.
Yeah.
And the minute you say, I can't, your brain goes, well, she said she can't. We won't talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm changing that too. Like I'm taking the word try out of my vocabulary, and it was conscious for a while, and now I don't say it like I used to. So I just know that I'm not that great. I haven't been an outdoorsy person very much. So when I hear somebody else talking about, horses or what they're doing, it's just it's interesting, because it's different than what I'm doing. And so, but I try to find value in everybody and what they say, because, I'm not the end all to everything. I don't know everything, and I'm here to expand and grow. So, I like hearing how everybody's got their own comments and we're bouncing things off. That makes following the challenge a lot nicer, just being able to come here and then have you talk about it and kind of reemphasize things. And it's a lot more pleasant than just going through and, just having to be me. So I appreciate what you're doing.
You guys will love next week. We get through into Erin Birch's stuff, because she is really phenomenal. Kim, did you get value today? You are muted, by the way.
No, I got busted.
Busted?
Yeah.
I
No
hope-
boring life. No, I did.
You got to quit saying that to yourself. Your new affirmation starting immediately is, I love my life. My life is exciting.
I agree.
Okay, everybody. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. I expect same time, same station, 4 o'clock tomorrow. And we'll think about if we want to take the weekend off or if we want to have a little get together over the weekend. Either way, I can work with it. I will tell you that next week, probably Thursday and Friday, I'm going to be out of town, but we'll figure that out as the week goes by. Okay?
Oh, Lan, I just thought I can't make it Saturday.
Okay,
I don't know why I brought that up.
that's okay. All righty, my friends.
Okay.
We'll talk tomorrow. I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay. Thank you, Lan.
Bye for now.